It's time for sports. We say hello to François Vibaud.
Hey.
Earlier this season, it looked as though Paris's eternal rivals, Marseille, had a shot for at least contention when it came to Champions League places, but their bad run got worse this weekend.
Exactly, that's right. Marseille just really weren't in the game on Sunday. They got ousted 2-0 by Andrézieux, who normally play in France's 4th division. Indeed, the Coupe de France is the only competition where amateur clubs can face off against professional teams. Brian Guabige scored the opening goal after just 16 minutes of play, nailing in a header off a corner kick. It's his very first goal of the season. Then, just 10 minutes before the final whistle, Andrézieux midfielder Florian Mila volleyed the ball straight through the arms of keeper Steve Mandanda. Now, Mila celebrated by revealing his undershirt where were marked the words, "Jesus is born again." Marseille's president described the match as a nightmare. His team now stands 7 games without a win. Meanwhile, Marseille's historic rivals PSG are faring a little better with a 4-0 victory against Pontivy, an amateur club that plays in the 5th division. Neymar started off the year with 2 goals, opening with a cross that was deflected by a Pontivy defender into his own net. Mbappé scored off a penalty and Julien Draxler sealed the match with a short lob. So smooth sailing for Paris Saint-Germain, whose next major hurdle will be their Champions League match against Man United in around a month's time. And staying with football, but moving to Dakar in Senegal, where tomorrow the African Player of the Year will be announced. Our sports editors are in the city and met with 2 former winners of the award, Samuel Eto'o and El Hadji Diouf, to talk about football, but also about Dakar itself. They're on the island of Gorée, just off the coast of the city, which is a place loaded with history. For many years, it served as a prison for African slaves before they were sent on ships to the Americas. Now, the 2 football legends gave us their impressions after having visited the island.
We're here on an island that's filled with history, our history. And we're still asking ourselves the same question. How could people have been so cruel? It's a tough one. But today, we have the opportunity to write our own history, to reclaim our own history. And I hope that today our leaders understand the meaning of this phrase.
We'll hear more from Samuel Eto'o a little later, who will be giving us his prognostic on which country will be selected to host this year's Africa Cup of Nations, as in November, Cameroon was stripped of their status as host nations after it became apparent that their preparations for the tournament had taken some major delays. And we're going to stay with Dakar, but actually in name only, as this year the Dakar Rally will be taking place entirely in Peru. The famously grueling event used to see drivers hurtle across dirt and desert from Paris to Dakar, but has been held in South America for the past decade. It's closely followed by petrol heads all over the world and features both amateurs and professionals facing off in a variety of vehicle categories, from dirt bikes and dune buggies to cars and even trucks. Now, Frenchman Sébastien Loeb, who finished in 2nd place last year, is one of the favourites, so hopefully we might see a tricolour flag on the podium this year again. And let's finish with a look at tennis, and Rafael Nadal gearing up to play the Australian Open, which starts in just a week. Now, there had been doubts about his form after he withdrew from the Brisbane international competition last week. Today, the legendary Spaniard lost a friendly match against Nick Kyrgios 2-1, but clinched a victory in the doubles with Milos Raonic as his side against Team Australia, that is Kyrgios and John Millman. So unless there's a major upset, Rafael Nadal should be in fighting form to play in the Australian tournament.